marching away from the cannery. I just was like any old Johnny Clean Cheeks. Not a care in the world, not a how and a why. No destination, not a cloud in the sky. Yeah, clearly. No sky. And suddenly, behold, this is the Sacramento City Hall, completed in 1911. And at that time, it was able to house all 500 city employees. They're all there. The 4 clock faces became a useful landmark, we're told. We're going to ignore this stuff. Let's talk about the clock. The reason why the survey gives as the evidence as to the idea that the clock faces were a useful landmark is because, and I quote, a newspaper of the time noted how the trolley motormen would check their watches against the clocks as they passed City Hall. Well, that's reason enough for me to assume that it's a useful landmark. Rudolph Harold, the skilled local architect of considerable virtuosity. This structure clearly contains both exuberance and dignity. I know you're just about to say that. I do. Great minds think alike. The date of its erection, well, it took about a year and 4 months for this thing to build. You see, in 1902, Sacramento, well, they didn't really have a city hall. They had some random offices they rented that were spread out throughout the downtown area. The public archives were insecure. No vault for the treasury. No assembly chamber for the public meetings. In short, they didn't have one. But a special election was held, and 2,292 brave patriots defeated the 275 communist dissenters, and the issuance of the 40-year 4% bonds so that the new City Hall could be built was passed. Now, construction began in 1909, April. 1 year later, city staff began moving into the new City Hall, though work was still in progress. Now, no survey would be complete if we didn't dive into a completely ridiculous backstory about our architect to verify his authentic identity. So, with no further ado, Rudolph Harold was born in San Francisco on Christmas in 1870. Wow. He studied architecture in Europe somehow. And at the age of 31, he made his way down to Sacramento. He designed many of the buildings there, and the private residences, and the commercial building. He prepared landscape plans, garden fountains. Environmental design was his passion. He was elected to represent the West Coast at the American Institute of Architects' first international meeting in 1925. And he died shortly after, before anyone could interview him, as luck would have it. This building, the original doors were these boring, planished copper with metal hinges, solid polished bronze. I mean, each door was a 1/4 inch thick and glazed copper panels. So we were like, F that. We put in these here glass doors, which look much more modern and ugly. Now, this does have a basement. To anyone who was wondering, which was probably no one, because you're either of the camp that you don't care and you're uninterested and never crossed your mind, or you're the camp that understands that every single building constructed, allegedly in this here time period, has a basement. Some real earthworms. Now, I could go on and on about the grandeur of this here building, but, well, quite frankly, I don't think I will. I will say that this fountain screams Los Angeles. Really? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. He's being sarcastic. No, I'm not being sarcastic. He's being sarcastic. I'm not being sarcastic.
Ladies and turtles. No men allowed. No. No fish. No birds. No. Just women and turtles. I don't know why. Today, we begin not with a building, but with a historical sort of landmark. An iconic feature. And if this didn't give it away, I mean, you do know what that is, don't you? I mean, of course I do, because I just got done reading several hundred pages all about the cable car system in San Francisco. I'll try to bore you with the details, the amount of detail, and the different point of views in which they laid out the histories of the 8 different companies that invented and patented various types of grips and cables and methods for the cars to be able to take turns, and the various characters that all seem to pop up in every story regarding these cities and these times. Full of stuff like that. A few of the more ludicrous ones are, he said, brandishing a fistful of documents. Well, first things first, they want you to know that this is actually not 1907, even though everything else about it is correct. This date here? No. You see, the people out here, we're told, they're standing on the hill, allegedly watching the fire as it rolls in, because this is the day of the earthquake, you see, a year prior. And these guys are just unperturbed. That's what they want you to know. One of the first ridiculous things about this story is the inventor of modern-day cable car, Mr. Halliday. Now, he wasn't the first one, of course, to patent a system with a gripping fork or an open-ended car cable. Confederate General George Beauregard from the Civil War experimented with this system, and Philadelphian E.S. Gardner also patented elements of this system, but they were just a precursor to the main event, which occurred in 1836, when a man named Andrew Smith gave birth to a young boy via his wife, allegedly, to a young man named something Halliday. And this kid, his early training, as in pre-15, was a mechanic and draftsman. At the age of 16, his father came to California for the boy's health, dropped him off, and abandoned him back to England. Freshly orphaned, and with a luckless stint at gold mining, somehow young Halliday put his mechanical training that he got as a child to work. At the age of 19, he designed and constructed a 200-foot-long wire suspension viaduct over the middle fork of the American River. That's right, age 19. He began manufacturing, and he opened up a factory 1 year later at age 20. And 10 years later, watching horses slip as they went up this hill, he said, Eureka! A series of financial rejection, logistics. He somehow found the time he had the ability to invest $20,000 to his project, which would be worth $494,661 today, roughly. So where'd this dude get $500,000 from? They also claim that construction of the roadbed involved removing and replacing the sets of underground gas and water mains and filling in or building over the cisterns of the city's old fire system. What cisterns? What's city's old fire system? Because we're told between the years of 1850 and 1852 that the city burned down 7 times. No mention of any old cistern that they'd be filling in or building over. That's ridiculous. And even so, it says they virtually completed construction by the end of July 1873 after only 60 days. 60 days without power tools to dig up the road, replace water and gas lines, and fill in old ancient cisterns and install a cable. 60 days. You're right. There's some silly morsels of anecdotes, such as when they did their first test run, the driver, basically chickened out, and Halliday took control himself, and he himself piloted the car down there. And then there were so many people that were helping, excited, and wanted to help turn the dummy at the lower terminus that it broke a bolt, a 20-minute delay. Then the cable began to slip, but Halliday, somehow everywhere at once, remedied the situation by tossing some sawdust onto the overly tarred cable. Wow. Built at a cost of about $100,000. Well, let's go back to our calculator here. And that would be $2.47 million today. And it earned about $200 a day. Daily expenses of $120, giving it about $100 profit a day. That'd be $2,473 a day. Let's see, 247 times 365. So we're talking astronomical figures here. Oh, but that's not all. Look at the photographs reveal. Underneath the dirt, brick roads. Brick, the whole thing. So add that to the number of bricks that it would take to build the city. Under this dirt, it's all brick. And how this is even possible? I mean, some of this stuff looks pretty amazing, but some of it also looks pretty old. So it's just a real mixed bag. I mean, no doubt that they took some of this pre-existing infrastructure and modernized it. I don't doubt that. I also don't doubt that this big guy at some point spilled spaghetti on his shirt. Easy there, Chief. Or what's going on back here? Put him down there. No, let me go. You get down there and you find that diamond or you'll never see a teddy bear again. And there's Dick Tracy. Something doesn't make sense, Sam. Watch out, pedestrians, please. Everything looking rather dingy. Look, there's Dick Tracy again. Still, Sam, here I am at the outskirts of town. I just can't figure it out. Something doesn't add up. This lumber looks like it's been reused. This building looks nearly abandoned. And all 8 of these companies, they built different powerhouses at different times. They fought over patents. They sued each other. They merged with each other. It's a very storied and rather dizzying array of facts, sheer overwhelming of information, until you get to the point where Leland Stanford shows up. Of course. He shows up and finances the construction of San Francisco's 3rd cable line. His engineer and him tried to rip off the original owner of one of the patents. In usual Stanford style, he tried to bone anyone that came across his path. There's talk of the engines requiring 8,000 tons of coal every day just to operate. Most of this stuff, including most of the cars, being destroyed by the fire in 1906. And all this in various fires, and all this before for a cable line that really just went up a few hills and was only around for 20 years. Oh, by the way, the editor wants us to note the scaffolding here, that this was clearly being rebuilt after the earthquake. This date is correct, but not the other one. The other one, no. And I don't get it. Does this look like it's a new construction to you? I mean, I don't know what to think of all this. What the hell's going on in these buildings? And some of this stuff just looks like monstrously out of place. And these buildings that they house this machinery in, like, why would you build this down here? These are underground vaults where they hold this stuff. And all of it just looking more and more like repurposed technology all the time. Did we build anything? Oh, I'm sure we created rice-a-roni. But I mean, anything substantial. So I says to the guy, hey, you haven't even, how you get that thing I sent you? Fuck off, Gerald. What I imagine most office talk to be like. You know, I've never worked in an office. I somehow don't think that, it would suit. Any last words, thermometer, before we grind you between these gears? Well, what do you say? I say fuck you, asshole. Wait. No. Anyway. And you're in wheel cage, buddy. You ain't never getting out. Not after what you did. Oh, looks like a bar over there. The TV on the wall. Maybe I'm just seeing things. Leonard, turn off the machine. It's lunchtime. Here, we check in with another member of the Big Four. Could have sworn that I already covered this here, sumbitch, but we'll continue to do it. But this here is the Anglo and London Paris National Bank, also known as the Crocker Bank, as in Mr. Crocker of the Big Four, the judge, the art museum haver, the corrupt merchant from Sacramento. This building is given a 5 in quality. It's the highest rating back when they initially surveyed these items. And it was designed by Albert Pissis, P-I-S-S. And then there's an I-S after that. So I don't know if it's ISIS or if it's Pisces or Pisces, but it seems like Pisses. Like, who the pisses at the door? Or like, I hate them Buffalo Bills. I hope the Cowboys stomp them pisses. I don't know. Use your own creativity. You do it. But this here building was designed in classic temple form. Temple Street, too. Interesting, isn't it? Actually, it's not on Temple Street. I mixed it up with something else. God damn it. In any case, this bank merged with a few other banks and became the London Anglo-Paris. Only a few years after it was established. Alas, they were destroyed in 1906, but quickly reopened, erected new. And in 1909, the state of California passed a law forbidding foreign banks, which caused Herbert Fleshhacker, meat chopper, to gain control of all the foreign stock and basically rob poor Crocker blind. This new organization included people with names with Sigmund Greenbaum, Herbert Fleshhacker, Joseph Friedlander, and A. Hochstein. You can tell that they are Native American by the names. Now, Albert Pissis was one of the San Francisco's leading designers of public buildings. Born in Mexico, he was raised in San Francisco at the age of 6. So basically, he was one of the first people here. Traveled through Europe, went to San Francisco, and entered the office of William Musser Sr. after attending the École Arts in Paris, formed a partnership with Pissis and more. And I'm not making this up. Pissis was a mature and established designer, and when the earthquake came, he used the opportunity to obtain many of the commission. Large budgets reflected the desire on the part of his clients for prestigious and symbolically elegant buildings. He was among the chief exponents of what was then called modern architecture. Well, it's still called that now, but it was called it then too. And this building, this amazing building with this Death Star-looking item here, which looks like it probably can teleport people if I didn't know any better. I mean, I don't know anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if shit started hovering around in a strange energy field created by this here dazzling three-dimensional. And what did you guys do with the medallions that were here? It clearly described copper medallions in the walls. Where'd they go? They'd been burgled. Well, this building was also designed with George Kellogg, who was born in Massachusetts. Went to Harvard, studied in Rome and Paris at the École des Beaux-Arts also, and came to San Francisco to work on the exposition and a UCLA campus, and it's all the same shit. Anyway, this building in excellent condition, perfect condition, the highest rating. Historical, complete, complex, lovely, intricate, old world, Taurus, the pink marble, the marble flooring, the travertine, the inner vestibule doors with bronze gates, the capitals with banded patera, the soffits, the Roman coin medallions that are missing, the octagonal coffering joints. Don't forget about the basement, of course, which we're told is massive. Oddly enough, there's no mention of this at all, nor the amazing vault. This here is the Blake Moffitt Town Building. Designed by Willis Polk, it is set for being destroyed in the near future, 1982. Yeah, sorry. I mean, it's 70 years old at the time of its destruction. A shame, really, since it was just remodeled in 1968, so 12 years prior. They put in new elevators, new floor openings, new roof openings, new machine rooms, and yet, nah, we gotta destroy it. Now, why, I wonder? Why would they destroy this building? For no reason. It's almost as if they have something to hide. There's a little glitch in this one here. Willis Polk, we're told, as you recall, the man who worked for Daniel Burnham, came to San Francisco in 1888, same year as everyone else, and after the fire and the great earthquake, he rebuilt everything. They claim he also began a publication devoted to architecture, and after the fourth issue, he skipped to Carmel with the subscription money, which is exactly what they said about John Eastwood in the last video. So, what gives? We're repeating anecdotes but putting different characters? Or you think it was a typo or what? I don't know, but it's a curious, don't you think? No, maybe not. Moving on. Oh, by the way, this is a basement. And a shame, too, really, that it was destroyed. It seems rather wasteful to demolish something like that. But really, exploitation and waste seems to be all these parasites know. This is the Grace Building, 1907. Frank Shea and John Lofquist were the architects. Vacant. There's a major fire in 1971, which you can see here did some damage. And 9 years later, at the time of this survey, it was not repaired. And so, it too will be scheduled along with the taco shop. No! Yes! For destruction in 1983. Goodbye, cruel world. Life's not fair for a building in disguise. This here is the Holbrook Building, distinguished by the integrity of its facade. Ooh, highly rated historical building. Built in 1912 for Charles Holbrook, the architect was one of the most prominent post-fire San Francisco firms, McDonald and Applegarth. Surely you've heard of Mr. Applegarth by now. Holbrook was born in New Hampshire, you see, and migrated to California, where he participated in the 1850 gold rush. Joined the firm of J.D. Lord, which manufactured stoves and metal piping. Then moved to San Francisco, just in time to sell non-structural metalwork for rebuilding structures. Mr. Applegarth, by contrast, was born in Oakland. He was an apprentice with his uncle George Sanders. He was born in 1877, at the age of 25. He went to École des Beaux-Arts from Paris, like they all do. Joined with Mr. Ken MacDonald, and built everything in San Francisco. Few of them remain, however. Mr. Kenneth MacDonald, on the meantime, was born in Louisville, Kentucky, went to Vanderbilt, went to the University of Pennsylvania, studied at the École des Beaux-Arts. I'm not kidding. It really is this repetitive. He also worked with George Kellum, who you just heard about, and he built 72 buildings in San Francisco. The condition of the building is said to be good, and then in parentheses it says to be demolished. It's good. Demolish it anyway. What about the lions on the floor level? Like, why would you demolish this building? Why would you demolish this building with such amazing doors and railings? It's just gorgeous. Put up something shittier. This picture is thrust in the middle of this survey, and it is a bizarre one. First of all, it's Photoshop. I mean, look at this. What is this? And right here, you can see they did a pretty good job of it, but this is a different picture. See how it cuts off right here? Just a straight white line. If you follow the line all the way down, see, they did pretty good, actually, but it's actually a different picture. This is different the whole way down. It's just cleverly done, but clearly fake. Can you get up here? I mean, just cut off like that? And then around the edges too? So I don't know what the hell this is. But they're obviously trying to pass it off as reality, and it's not. So if they do it once, they'll do it again. Don't you forget that. The Sheldon Building. Built within a year after the earthquake, the architect, Benjamin McDougall, was, you guessed it, an important designer in the San Francisco area. Of equal, if not greater importance, was our old friend John B. Leonard from The Bridges makes a cameo. Howdy do, John. We missed you. Where's the door? Now, this here building was definitely remodeled in 1958 and in 64 and 1974, and yet it's going to be destroyed. Now, one thing interesting about this description of this bad mamma jamba, it's on the fourth page where it says, prior to the earthquake, this building, that's right, this monstrous building, was, I quote, the site itself was generally underwater before 1849 and was barely on shore by 1852, according to base maps showing the shoreline configuration for these two periods of time. So this entire spot was underwater. This looks like the hallway of the Star Wars as their opening scene in. But can you believe that? Just openly telling you. I don't know. I thought that was pretty crazy. Mr. McDougall, of course, not to be left out in the story contest, became an architect at age 26 by beginning his own firm. His brother became the state architect for California. He built stuff in Fresno. He built a YMCA. He built apartments on Bush Street. Now, Mr. John B. Leonard, of course, he came to California during the boom of the 80s. 1880s, that is. And we've heard all about this guy. Yeah. He wants you to buy all the concrete. He lectured everywhere about concrete. He basically
had an affair against his wife with concrete. It's a fact that's little discussed in these circles. You know, it was more than just a product to him. He was in love with concrete. By the way, that Sheldon building was 137 6 feet deep into the earth. The other thing I marked down here with a shocked face emoji, reminding myself of the way I feel. Fortunately, this here building is also going to be destroyed in early 1983, which is about 40 years ago. So in a way, it's like the past reaching out to you, crying out for help in the future, but a future that has already come and gone, and the present is missing. Does that sound like a Hollywood movie that you'd like to see? Right away, son. You never know, dude. Freaking lie to you, dude. I'd be just like Kinsinger, dude, or Adam Schiffer. Freaking lie just like those dudes, bro. I'm a man of integrity. I'll slap the next person that even insinuate that I would lie to my general public. The very idea. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. This here is the barracks, Presidio barracks. I'm going home break. Who wore it best, then or now, and how? No information about these, and this here is the Presidio, battery, or gunnery, whatever it's called. They put guns here, okay? And really, it's got some sort of Starfort kind of qualities. It definitely has a little bit of that, Starfort quality there. Looking like concrete that's been spread over blocks. You can see the lines. Unless that's rebar inside concrete. It's hard to say. Really is. Need some boots to the ground for this one. This is old, so maybe they reinforced the concrete all around it? Wonder what went there. Something ain't right around here, and I'm gonna get to the bottom of it if it kills me. Yo, calm down, puto. This is the Point Arguello Coast Guard Rescue Station. This guy's got some dubious history as well. Just can't do anything right over here, can they? Well, how about this? I'll tell you, and then you tell me. Basically, I had to read a 70-page book just to find out what the fuck's going on here. This place was established in 1936 and quit operating in 1941. 5 years, okay? 5 years. Because there were so many naval disasters right off the coast here due to the jetty, they allegedly built all these buildings, these included, in 5 years. And there were a total of 15 men stationed here. Basement. 15 men. And this is the officer's house, and then someone slept downstairs. And I guess Jimmy, he pees the bed, so he had to sleep over here. And, yeah, we need more doors. 5 doors is not enough. Here's where the dog lived. On the weekends, they would do some glory hole stuff. Allegedly, some of the shipwrecks that happened here were 7 destroyers in one day went down. That's just one of like the 100 wrecks. Meanwhile, while it was here, it only participated in 2. They built towers and a granite rock breakwater. All this stuff in 5 years where 15 men were stationed here. It just makes no sense. Now, one of the funniest parts about this property, and I'll back up here, are these. Now, I don't think that there's anything unique about these buildings, but this survey starts to lay it on real thick in the way that a liar does when they're trying to, they over-explain. Like, I got Prince Andrew vibes. If you've ever watched the Prince Andrew interview on 60 Minutes, where he's being asked about his relationship with Epstein, it is honestly one of the greatest displays of the inner workings on some of these elites and the way their mind works. He is such a poor liar. It's the audacity of a grown child who's never been in trouble for anything, gotten away with everything his whole life. The lies he tells are utterly preposterous, and they don't stop. It's so cringeworthy, I cannot believe that they'll ever let it air. Do yourself a favor sometime and watch that, and then you'll know the tone by which this article suddenly starts laying it on. I'm paraphrasing here, but it's, Andrew, is this a picture of you with Mrs. Guthrie? Yes, that's me, but there's no way to tell if that's my arm or not. I mean, it's me, but I've never even been upstairs, and that picture's clearly taken upstairs. And also, I wouldn't have worn that coat that night, and also, it couldn't have been me because I don't sweat, or at least I didn't sweat. I have a neurological condition where I did have a neurological condition. I couldn't sweat at the time. I can sweat now, of course, but at the time I couldn't. I'm barely exaggerating. If I'm exaggerating at all, I'm actually probably downplaying it. And it's that tone that this author takes when he starts laying it on thick about why exactly they chose this type of architecture, why it makes sense, and why it makes sense. And if for one reason wasn't enough, to something you never thought about, it gives 20 more. For example, just in case you were suspicious why all these buildings were colonial revival style, which if you're anything like me, you'll be very suspicious. Well, this should put you at ease. Well, first of all, this style dominated Coast Guard station architecture. It's true, the advantages were several. First of all, it symbolizes American nationalism. That's right. Is that right? It does. It convincingly suggests an anti-urban, suburban, middle-class environment. It does it? It does. The document goes on to tell us that just because there's no evidence of the 5 or 6 buildings that are alleged to have been there, there's every reason to believe that they did exist anyways. Every reason, huh? Then it goes on to list no reasons. They also talk about bringing in 2,000-pound granite blocks by boat to build the breakwater here with a 15-man construction crew. Literally 15 men. I'm sure there's a variety of reasons why the federal agencies such as the Coast Guard would use this particular period revival style. You see, historically, the late 18th and early 19th century colonial styles were closely associated with New England, and symbolically, New England in turn suggests involvement with the sea, therefore, Coast Guard. And also, symbolically tied in with a rigorous Puritanism. Also, the plainness of the white painted interior plaster walls and woodwork has a distinct quality of association with the ship and life aboard the ship. That's why we did it. An additional advantage of maintaining this is because of everyone would be able to respond in a similar fashion to a complex such as this. We would be aware that it was naval and federal. Plus, the implied suggestion that this is an upper middle class country estate, provide two other reasons on the practice of architecture. First, it indicates a tendency for in-house governmental architecture to generally lag behind whatever happens to be the latest, vogue. Is that so? It is. Second, it demonstrates the circumscribed limitations of imagery which always face a designer. The small scale of a facility such as at Point Arguello meant that its imagery would most logically be derived from a domestic source, and if it were to be domestic and situated in the open country, the most logical source would be that of a country estate, don't you think? Then, of course, I understand the ironies involved in this, the employment of the image of an upper-middle-class country estate, which by implication characterizes a wealthy, laissez-faire world of the novelties. If the 20s being used for a quasi-military installation built during the Great Depression of the 1930s, I understand that creates a rather deeply built-in contradiction, but who in the fuck writes like that? That's telling the truth. I'll take no one for 500, Peter. Get out what you can. F that, I'm hiding under the bridge. Don't find me an oyster. Peter, I know you're down there. Poof. Open spandrel. Y'all remember that? Yes, sir. You know what's going on here. That doesn't look too sound, does it? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. What's this? Why old world stone facade? Why not uniform material? Why tuna fish have a Moby Dick? Why concrete have a crack? Back there in them bushes. This amazing shot. The photographer just couldn't wait to snap a photograph of it before it ran off. Couldn't be bothered to cross the street. Didn't want to get too close now. Who knows what's lurking in that van? But that there is the Maryville High School, built in the 1870s. Yes, sir. Now she's all boarded up and demolished. Well, boarded up here, demolished in the current time. Here, the surveyor stopped to take a picture of a person that ran a red light. Justice never sleeps. No, sir, do not. Now, this here is even more stupid. This here is the Maryville Grammar School, built in 1865. Nobody knows who, how, or why. But we do know that it has been demolished. Look at the Torahs. Look at the amazing architecture. Feast your eyes on this temple. Why are we destroying this? Sometimes I hate you, California. Why? Why? It's monstrous. Who knows what it used to do? Who knows what secrets lurked here, what shadows lie in these walls. This here was the kindergarten, to give you some idea of the magnitude of this place. I don't know why they had a fireplace in the kindergarten, but, they did. And the whole thing. We're back here in Downey. You can recall, down here in Downey, life moves a little slow. Benicia Art Depot, very popular place. Show up early, or you'll never get in. Uns climbing on the brother moves here. That's why they have the Germans rules, sir. That was terrible. This is actually a winery, guy. I don't know why we need these fancy alien communicators, but it is a winery. Looking like the building has roots steeped in the old world, doesn't it? Yes, yes it does. Cool greenhouse, though. And for some reason, now we're going lurching back through the old way, the way we came in to this segment 2 films ago. This is the Mission San Buenaventura. It was started in 1801, completed in 9 years, after the Padres directed, peacefully I'm sure, the Indian labor. Oh, I'm so ashamed, he says. How could I put the poor Indians to work so hard? Boo-hoo, boo-hoo. You guys spend all this freaking money in the budget on these nice ladders, and you can't even get the kids a net. Who's up for a game of billiards, he says. Hold on, first let me look at this super high-resolution photograph. This is fucking badass, dude. You make this out of cardboard, bro? No. This is actually the Yuba County Hall of Records. This here is an interesting picture. This is in Yuba County, a place that is very mysterious. And just look what you have here. The historic districts, I'll look down D Street to C Street, and there's no date given. Look at the electric poles. This is in Yuba County. And if the pictures are any indication, this is 30 years before we literally had a power plant in the area. So, you know what's going on here. You know why these pictures are such shitty quality. Because Yuba County is the narrative shatterer. Like, this thing has been copied and pixelated to the point where you can't even tell if it's a drawing or not. To get rid of the details, I'm sure. Well, this is the Marysville Grammar School, complete with dome and everything. This is the Yuba County Courthouse, this cardboard-looking castle, which is also demolished today. My camera don't seem to be working, so I went ahead and drew you this up. It's exactly lifelike of what it looks like. Okay? It's just a simple place, okay? And these boys, especially him, they will fuck you up if you go running your mouth about what you've seen down here. This is the old Wells Fargo building, if you can believe that. And I mean old Old as in old world, old empire, old everything. Weird stairs leading up to the door. I feel like I'm over here in someone's backyard taking a pee. What is going on in this neighborhood? Why am I here? Oh, you know what? This is that theater. The Monterey Theater, the Feist one ever in California, see? It really looks nice. These trees look like they are spastic, but I like that. Too much hair gel, maybe. Oh, wow, look at that mamma jamma. Pit, a little basement down here. Yeah, a little subliminal message there, huh? Oh, this is that one fireplace that I named Sarah last time. Sarah, you look like you're feeling better. Is that true? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, shit. Okay. God. Everyone around here is so grumpy. There's for a stovepipe. And we find ourselves back here in the Los Angeles City Hall. Again, I don't know why. Maybe we're going as a tourist this time. Oh, goody. Since I already did the boring parts, let's just marvel, shall we? You guys playing street hockey here? What's up with these nets? Wow, this building is, amazing. I don't recall this ever being an American symbol, do you? But I do know certain people that use it. Ah, yes, of course. These are the doors that are supposed to tell us the story of California, but don't. Interesting star there. And, of course, none of this looking very Los Angeles at all. Looking very old world. Here you have more of the Ionic column symbolism, the veined roofs that just so happen to feed into the lights. How about that? Curious how this is so foundationally challenged. A beautiful, very extra 22 stories City Hall. Give me a friggin' break. And who needs it? Who needs doors this big? Unbelievable. And it's just beautiful. It really is. Can't even begin to describe it, Governor. Could you be the most beautiful building in the world? You stop your motor. And again, with the symbolism, it's just not very modern. It's almost like those freeze frames in the old television channels, the test runs or whatever. All of this just very, very mysterious. And that's not a U.S. symbol, is it? Where have we seen that before? Oh yeah, the Prussian state of Brandenburg. Oh, the House of Toso, the House of Voltaggio. Here, there, here in Czechia, Austria-Hungary, Chile, here in Slovenia, here in Nazi Germany, here, on this church in Czech Republic, here on this railway station, here on this statue, here in this Moravia ad, here, on this Polish banknote, on this German Deutschmark, here in Armenia, here again, here in Spain. I'm sure you get the idea. But the point being, if we're so different, it's so unique and independent, if we really built everything, why would we use the same exact old world and symbolism that you see everywhere else in the freaking world? Why? Because it's almost as if, I don't know, there was maybe like, just one culture that stretched across the entire realm of all races, and they had a few symbols that they repeatedly used. I think that makes more sense than 200 sovereign nations that all happen to use accidentally settle on the same symbol. And this building, this Los Angeles Capitol City Hall, is the most ludicrous building for a municipal function. This is a massive, massive building. Probably for some serious energy work. Time travel, teleportation, hell, I don't know. Masonic ritual, perhaps? Yes. Applied duality, see? The murals alone, I mean, the fact they said they built this thing in like a year, get the out of here. 28 stories? These lamps. Those lamps are hot. Even the vents they made back then were amazing. We just get straight junk today. That's insane! And, you know, if these are amplifiers of sorts, the negativity that they must broadcast out into the world when they hold court and people sit in judgment in these buildings just must resonate across the world in such a crappy way. The idea that you need to congregate in this building for your petty little municipal crap. And still you're so bad at it that half your freaking population is bankrupt, homeless, living worse than the people whose entire homes burned down did. In a way, it's even worse. Their dreams were burnt down. And this opulent display of otherworldly beauty. The same symbols everywhere. These starfort-like interlocking geometry. It's almost as if these circles were where people would stand and they could somehow... And up and away they go. This looks like a DMT trip, except it's more like... Do what we're doing. Well, it feels good to be back in my own body. Anyways, that's probably what you see when you go inside that portal or whatever. Hell, I don't know. Welcome. Come right in. I'm sure you'll enjoy your stay. Oh, where'd he go? Gotta get the fuck out of here, dude. Oh my god, I gotta get the freak out of here, dude. The guy's freaking coming. Hurry up. Oh my god, dude. Is anyone in here? Karen. Karen. Quick. How do I get out of here? What's that? That's the door. No, it's not a door. That's a door. Oh my god, another one. Oh, thank god. Oh god, my teeth are all gritty. I need to go lie down. Oh my god, dude, the brakes are coming. Oh my god, I'm a woman. Oh my god, I know my menstruation cycle's gonna start any freaking minute, dude, if I'm a woman. And I don't know how to do anything. I wasn't paying attention. Give me a freak out of here, dude. Where is this building anyway? I mean, what is all this? It's interesting how every single room, the walls broken off to reveal the inner brick, like right there. Whoa, that is one cool wall. Whoa, what is this? Oh, I'm still in the Capitol? Dude, this place is huge. Love to play a good game and kick the can in here, or ring the bell, or, well, hell, you name the game, and I'll play it. But just look at the bricks. Just looky. Everywhere you go. Worst kind of ceiling ever. Brick. And it's an interesting thing. I wonder if this looks like it's been underwater. All this does. That's curious. Now that I think about it, there's been lots of places that I've been where they poured concrete or whatever it is. I guess it could just be like unfinished concrete. But then again, the city came into being to preserve life. It exists for the good life. Oh, really? Yeah. Bunch of freaking hypocrites. How can you sleep at night? This ends with some interesting color pictures. This is what this place looks like in modern times. Oh, this is a bit of a 70s sunny camera, looks like. You can get an idea of the detail in which the mayor of Los Angeles works and operates in, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, what gorgeous building, but the idea that these clowns put this up, that's a creepy room. I mean, we're just not building stuff like this, ever. The idea that we did this is just, it's laughable. Let them come in here and say, with a straight face, that they believe the narrative of this. Have we built anything like this since then? No. And here you are looking through the honeycomb. That is the colony that you are, a worker ant, soon to be a sexless, sterile, weakened, cloned, homogeneous, no culture having, no unique traits. One worker looks just like the other, while a few of the specialized drones get to keep their wings and their masculinity, and they take care of the queen, and the rest of us slave away for nothing, building our honeycomb for the good of the hive, we think, only to have them come along and take all of it, and we have to start over from square one. And that is exactly in the process of which we find ourselves here in America. They take. I'll see you soon.